TCI is brought to you by Spendthrift Stallion Arch, winner of the Southwest Stakes and Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, now participating in Spendthrift's Breed Secure program.
Welcome back to TCI, your inside track to the Triple Crown. Alongside Joel Cunningham, I'm John Siegel. Well, Joel, we have a lot to talk about this weekend, but before we do, let's recap the Southwest Stakes. We had one horse represented in the TCI Top 10. That horse was Strong Mandate. Joel, he seems like he's the kind of horse that just always finds himself with an excuse. He runs a good second in here, but tell me a little bit about the race.
Well, I think he had a lot of excuses last year too, John. I mean, he had some health concerns. You know, he's a big horse, obviously ran fast and a lot at too, so he had some shin problems that we've observed through his 2-year-old campaign. So the fact that he tailed off, didn't surprise me. And you mentioned he had a wide trip in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Well, him coming back now fresh with a couple bullet works. Then Wayne Lucas isn't the greatest off the layoff. Certainly we've seen the inconsistency in his barn. Just look at last year around this time. Oxbow will take charge. You never knew when either one was going to fire an A+ performance. I saw enough in this race from Strong Mandate to think he's still looking forward to a big year. Obviously had some problems. We'll go now to the Twin Spires TV race replay here, and we'll pick it up at the top of the stretch, hit the play button. And you see here, Strong Mandate turning for home. He had a wide trip in here, John. Certainly broke slow, and I think what happened here is Joe Rosario had to try to rush him up to try to get contention. They wanted to stalk in here, but he's a big horse. By the time he got into full stride, they came over on him going in the first turn. He had to swing to the outside, go wide, and the horse took off on him. Big Colt couldn't get him to slow down, so I think he learned something here. You see Tapiture here just with a runaway win. Great 3-year-old debut by Tapiture. We thought he was a contender coming into the race. Certainly had that good form at Churchill last year. He's a horse for course there. Steve Asmussen does so well with horses fresh off the bench. This horse saved all the ground on the inside, had a pretty easy trip on the pace, was able to take control of the race at the top of the stretch and really power away. Good performance by Tapiture, but I still think Strong Mandate, the race within the race, the way he was finishing there, even though he got beat a good 4 lengths, he had plenty of excuses. I think you're going to see him as maybe a more consistent horse when he gets more into racing shape and with some experience under his belt.
All right, before we look at the TCI Top 10 and kind of see how everything shook out from last weekend, no concerns about the fact that he's kind of switching leads there at the end of the stretch, Strong Mandate I'm talking about. He swapped his leads quite a few times.
And I wanted to point that out, and I got on a tangent, but you're right. 3 or 4 times he swapped his leads, at least 3 times, and that's certainly concerning because you wonder if there's still something physically going on there. I mean, certainly could have been tired, had a license to be tired at the end of the race, but you wonder that many lead switches, there's something maybe pinching them somewhere, maybe somewhere behind. So you have to watch out for Strong Mandate going forward. But Dwayne Lucas has shown that these horses, the minute you get down on them, horse like that with a ton of talent, he's going to come up and bite you. I still think he's a big player next time out in the Rebel.
All right, well, let's take a look now at the TCI Top 10 then, and let's see what happened with Strong Mandate, where he ends up on the list. I see you went ahead and decided to drop him just 1 slot. I guess that's why you're saying you still believe in him quite a bit.
Well, sheer belief is the champion, John. I mean, just a ton of talent there. Him and Cairo Prince have shown more talent than anybody. The fact that he's better now with that foot injury and making a comeback, I can't have Strong Mandate over him, but I still think he belongs in the top 5. And look, this top 10 is going to change a lot. I mean, we've openly said that we still have a lot to see in these prep races, and I think this weekend is going to be a huge deciding weekend as far as our top 10 goes. And just look at the bottom half of it here, John. I mean, there is a key allowance race at Gulfstream that we're going to talk about. I have more horses in the top 10 in that allowance race than in the Fountain of Youth on the same program Saturday. So that just tells you how much young talent is still out there, and I still think in the next month or 2 we're going to see a lot of horses develop.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that just for a second, because I noticed one thing that was not on that list was Tapiture. Here's a horse that was very impressive in the Southwest. You don't even put him on the list. You're saying that you got some horses here that are going to run in an allowance. Just give me your thinking a little bit why you don't have a horse that has Derby points now on the list above some of these allowance horses.
I mean, that's a very valid question. Tapiture's still looking at his female family, even though he likes that Churchill course. Concerned about him at a classic distance, John. And we saw him take advantage, have the speed, have a great trip there. Mile and 16 to Oaklawn really plays to that speed. Concerned about him going a mile and a quarter, quite honestly, even though he likes Churchill. So I need to see more from him. I think we have a pretty good read on Tapiture. That performance really didn't surprise me, even though it was his lifetime best today. They've campaigned him like he's a nice colt all on. They ran him in a grade 2 as a maiden, a grade 3 as a maiden. So that shows you how much they like that colt. But there's some other Tappets that I mentioned on this list that I think maybe have more talent than him even, and more of a bigger upside. They're just a little further behind.
Well, we're going to find out this Saturday, and let's go ahead and transition and talk about an allowance race where we're going to see two of them, and that's Matterhorn. You have him in at number 8, and of course Constitution, you have him in at number 7. Joel, when I'm looking at these races and I'm seeing the money that's up for grabs and the graded stakes, I mean, this allowance looks like one of the toughest races of the weekend.
I mean, you're absolutely right. $48,000 purse, John. I mean, just wrap your brain around that. Saturday, $48,000 purse in race 6, no grade. This is just a 1X. And you have Matterhorn, Constitution, 2 horses that enter in TCI top 10 and number 7, number 8, just based on their talent level and their upside. You have Tonalist, another TDN Rising Star that's in there, Son of Tappet, off a maiden win. You have Wicked Strong, a horse people loved in the Holy Bull. You know, maybe just not his track or his type of race in Gulfstream, but a big good-looking son of Hardspun. And they have Mexicoma, who's in a lot of people's Derby top 10. You know, he ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last time out. So, wow, when I look at this race, I think it's just as exciting as a Fountain Youth. And I've loved Constitution since his maiden win, John. I just think that he's going to be able, with his tactical speed, he's going to be able to control this race on the front end. We know how fast that track is at Gulfstream right now. They're setting track record after track record. It's hard to catch quality speed there. If Constitution breaks out on the front end and controls this race, like I think he can, he's going to be tough. But again, Matterhorn, another horse right behind him on the TCI top 10. John, I just loved his maiden win against Harpoon. Yeah. To run a 1-turn mile, first time out, Harpoon had experience on him and tactical speed. He was still able to run over him late, you know, final 8th of a mile in that race. A $625,000 Son of Tappet. I tell you what, between these two, I think there's a lot of talent there, and I expect a monster stretch run from both.
Well, listen, no disrespect to the runners in the Fountain of Youth, because, Joel, this field is top class, too.
Yeah.
And if we have Top Billing in here, who you currently have at number 1, you don't even have, let's see, Commissioner is in this race.
Yeah.
Let me look back on the PPs here. Commissioner beat Top Billing last time out.
On that one.
Well, now you got him over here at number 1. What do you think is going to happen? I'm a little concerned, like you said, about the fact that it's speed favoring right now at Gulfstream. What does that do for a horse like Commissioner?
You know, he's going to save a lot of ground from the rail. I think he's going to be a revolutionary type, if you want to make an analogy to WinStar's Derby horse last year. Should love a classic distance, no question. AP Indy, and he's a big, good-looking colt, just a physically beautiful colt, John. He's going to make that late run. Not so sure Gulfstream's going to be his sort of track, but if he has enough quality, I don't think this is the greatest field ever, and there's no K-Road Prince in here. We'll see it this weekend from Commissioner. He's going to make that one run. I think he's going to have plenty of speed in here. But you mentioned something that's interesting. You know, he beat Top Billing last time out. I have Top Billing, another closer, number 1 on the TCI top 10. Commissioner's not even in the top 10.
Yeah.
So that tells you right there that, again, how wide open this 3-year-old group is right now. I mean, there is 15 to 20 horses, I firmly believe this, that have the very identical profiles that if you took my 18, 19, 20th horse and first weekend in May, they ran 1, 2, 3 in the Derby, and my 1, 2, 3 horse Top Billing and K-Road Prince ran next to last and third from last in the Derby, wouldn't shock me at all. I mean, I really think it's that type of year where we're going to see whoever the hot horse is in May that can handle a classic distance. I think there's a ton of horses in that group that can get it done. But when I look at the Fountain of Youth, I like General A-Rod a little bit. I mean, he has tactical speed, John. There's plenty of speed in here. Wildcat Red has a ton of speed. I think he's strictly a 1-turn horse. Almost Famous, he had a sneaky good gallop out last time out in the Holy Bull. Those are the 2 main speed horses in here, along with maybe CZ, a long shot. I think if General A-Rod can find a stalking trip, this colt, out of a Dynaformer mare, plenty of stamina on the bottom side, I think he can get first run into the stretch on that speed, maybe stalking, and look for a big day for Javier Castellano. General A-Rod, Constitution, he may have some major decisions to make after this weekend between those 2 colts.
All right, well, before we let you go, we have to talk about the Risen Star, because we're seeing a lot of good talent in this race as well. You know, we're seeing 2 horses in here that are very interesting to me. They're making their 3-year-old debut. That's Rise Up and Bondholder. They're going to be running against VICAR'S in Trouble, a horse that is really highly touted right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And VICAR'S in trouble. You know, he's in trouble by his post in here. I mean, he drew extremely wide. I mean, you look, there's even 2 also eligibles in this race, John. So there's going to be a full field. He's going to be wide. Now, there's plenty of run in the first turn, but there's a lot of speed to his inside. I mean, I look at the 1 and 2 hole. El Bono's got a ton of speed. He has to go from the rail, right? Rise Up, Tom Amos's colt. another speed horse that's coming in fresh. You know he's going to go to the lead, you know, the way Tom's probably diagnosed in this race. So I think there's going to be plenty of pace in here, and that hurts Vickers in trouble, trying to stretch out a little more to a mile and 16th, in my opinion. I think it really sets it up for the closers. You know, we talked about the Fountain of Youth and how maybe Commissioner's up against it on that track, how maybe Top Billing, a horse that I like a lot, may be up against it in the Fountain of Youth going a mile and 16th over a speed favoring track. It's different at Fairgrounds. You got that long stretch, that configuration really fares out the playing field. I think with a fast pace, look for Bondholder to make a late run, and I really like Intense Holiday. I mean, if you go back and look at the middle move he made last time out, this colt is a big, grand-looking son of Harlan's Holiday that paid a lot of money for him, and he just keeps getting better, John. Keeps getting better and better. He's breezing with Matterhorn right now down at Palm Meadows. I think he's ready to take another forward step. This is his racetrack. I look for Intense Holiday. Mike Smith, one of the best timing closing riders in the country. I look for Intense Holiday to get on the Derby Trail with a big win in the Risen Star.
Well, it looks like there's going to be some big shakeup. Maybe there'll be some changes on the TCI top 10 when we come back next week.
There'll probably be a ton of them. I'm interested to see how my evaluation is on Matterhorn and Constitution, two colts with a big future.
All right, good luck.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you come back next week and we'll recap all of these races and we'll see how the TCI top 10 shakes out.